Hello Taurus, welcome back to the channel and welcome to your 2025 Astroclock reading. If you're new here, Taurus, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. Have a look at the links that I have for you so you can explore and master this fantastic deck. So Taurus, welcome to 2025. I am so excited to be running another round of Astroclocks. Yes, I am set on the Astroclock again. Sometimes I ask the community, but I had a feeling that I wanted to stick with an Astroclock for this year. And if you're not familiar with the Astroclock, Taurus, you'll see that we use the whole deck. So don't be surprised. All the cards show up, the positive, the challenging, the neutral. All of it is going to be on the table. What makes your Astroclock unique is the combinations across the different months. So you'll see that we will have 12 groups of 3 cards. That's 3 cards for each month. And I start dealing out the cards at midnight for December, but I start reading at January, and then I go around the clock clockwise to go through the months. So are you ready, Taurus? Let's get into 2025. Let's deal out your Astroclock and see what the year has in store for you. Okay, Taurus, here is your Astroclock. As you can see, it's quite big. We've got all 36 cards on the table, and they're organized into 12 groups of 3 cards. That's 12 groups for the 12 months of the year. And so I started dealing out the cards here at midnight, but this is December, and I start reading here at 1 o'clock, which is January. I go around the clock in a clockwise order until we reach December. So this is a lovely spread. It's a big spread, but it's actually quite easy to read because you're just reading 12 triplets. And if you're interested in running your own Astroclock, I am bringing back the Astroclock Masterclass briefly for this time of year, so you can pick up how you do your Astroclock, and maybe you'd like to do an astro mapping exercise, one of my favorite spreads to do. So Taurus, before we do the month to month, let us get an overview of the cards. I like to do this to sort of orient myself a little bit around the Astroclock, get a feel for where is where. So I look for the positive cards, and I see that the Sun is with the Whip, which is lovely because the Whip is also a strongly negative card, but the Sun will help temper it down a little bit. We have the Clouds here, which can be a bit challenging. I think here we're looking at an important decision. This is a standout combination. We have the Scythe and Ring, and this is a separation, especially with the Man. The Fox and Snake are also challenging, and they point to a move. So I think these 2 cards are working together, and they seem to be building on this important decision that you make in June. And I think you decide to make a change here. Obviously, there's a strong change here. So this is looking like a big change. And actually, I can back up a little bit to May, from May to August. This is focused on relationships. We have the woman and the man. We have a separation. And actually, the Whip after the Sun can point to a disappointment. If it were the Sun after the Whip, maybe it would have been a bit brighter. But the Sun is still great, certainly with clarity. So I think there's going to be a significant turning point in a relationship here. After that, we see very bright cards, the Star and Flowers, the Child, a new beginning, and a new path here. And then December seems to be a bit different. The Mouse is a little bit challenging, but not very dramatic. And then earlier in the year, we have some very beautiful cards here. Ooh, these are nice. All of them are positive here. We have the Fish card, which is work and money. We have some travel happening in March. And we have a successful achievement here. Okay, so I think these are the big patterns of your year, Taurus. I think this is going to stand out. Well, I think everything stands out, but I mean the concentration of these elements here between May and August, is very clearly focused on a relationship. Okay, so let's dive in, Taurus. Let's start with January. We have the Clover, Moon, and Garden. Lovely cards. The Garden is a social card. It's about people, places, community, outdoors. The Moon is an invitation. The Clover is very lucky. So I think you could be invited to interesting places, or you could just be involved with some people in a nice environment. The Clover is certainly encouraging. So I would say, Taurus, accept the invitation, go out there, enjoy some good times. The garden can represent different places. It's typically social, but it could be social in different contexts. It could be personal, romantic, work-related, something else, maybe well-being, getting some fresh air and things like that. So very nice cards. I think very relaxing also, very easygoing energy here. Very nice. February, we have the key and coffin. So I think this is a successful completion, and the tree and key is a lovely combination that points to achieving a very important goal. So this is a very positive ending. I know the coffin is sometimes a challenging card, and it has like a down, sort of negative down energy, but with the tree and key, it's clear that this is a successful completion and you're closing something off. And so on the other side of this, we see March, where you pick up and go places. Each of the rider, stork, and ship are movement and travel cards. Let me bring this in a bit. It's a big spread. Okay, so here's our ship. And so you could be going places, you could be traveling, and you could even be moving. So it could be a big move. And it comes after the coffin. So we see that you wrap something up, and then you're off to some adventure. These are lovely cards, very active and very forward moving. You don't have to travel. Obviously, not every single Taurus out there is going to be traveling somewhere, but it's definitely active, pursuing objectives, making changes, getting going with your projects. A very active month here. April is lovely for money. We have the fish, and the lily is a card of the long term. It is a card of life path and career. So with the fish, this could be a long-term situation that is supportive for your finances. The bird can be a bit anxious. It can bring a bit of anxiety and nervousness, but I think it's tempered easily by the fish and lily. And also Taurus, the bird is very good for communicating, and so it's a good idea to talk about anything related to your work, money, business. If you're in business, maybe it's about marketing and outreach and things like that. So I think these are great cards for your work and money. Maybe also you're running some transactions, putting your house in order, your financial house in order, and just being on top of the details and focusing on the longer term picture. I do think this is a lovely sense of security. Now May, here we start with the relationship cards. We have the woman, sun, and whip. And yes, in this order, the whip can dampen the sun a little bit. So there can be a disappointment. Maybe there is like what you thought was going to be a good relationship sort of sours a little bit and something comes up. So this is going to cause you to think about the relationship in June. And we have the clouds, which is a card of the mind. And the cross is a card of important decisions, and it can be a bit challenging. And with the mountain as well, the mountain can point to a blockage. I think June needs to be a time of thinking. Interestingly enough, the mountain is also a card of solitude. So if you need to get away from the situation in order to have a thought about it, it's a good idea. But definitely take your time to have a thought about this. Just backing up a little bit to here, I just want to note that who the woman is depends on your situation, and sometimes it's not a woman. They're sort of flexible, the man and the woman. But typically, the two people card, they tend to represent someone who is important to you. So June is about thinking about the direction, taking a step back and making an important decision. Now July is very clear. I mean, this is as clear as it gets in Lenormand. We have the scythe, ring, and man. This is a divorce combination. There's just no, there's no really way around it. Of course, depending on what the relationship is, the idea is that there's a separation. If it's a marriage, it tends to be a divorce. If it's a partnership, it tends to be a breakup. It can also point to releasing yourself from certain commitments towards a person. So all of these figure, but the scythe and ring are very clear. And so we see this progression from May to July that leads up to, starts off with some challenges, goes through a decision-making process and leads into a separation. And this continues into August because we have the house, well, it's actually the fox, snake, and house. And the snake can be a turning away, often in the face of disappointments. Also, the fox and snake have a lot in common. They are both deceptive characters. The snake is a bit more toxic, but they have this deception element in common. And with the house, it could be the space or the environment within which you have this relationship. It can be a personal relationship. It can even be a marriage. Taurus, I can't really dismiss that. I'm not so sure how much of a good news this is, but these cards here are looking really bright. So it looks like something has turned toxic, and it aligns with what we saw earlier here. And so you move away from the house, this space or this environment within which this relationship was. Now, in all probability, these are related. Okay, these months from May to August, they seem to be related. They don't have to be. So when we get to the month-to-month reading, we could, there might be some like standalone things going on, and that this is not the same relationship, and this is not a thought process about the relationships. They can be independent readings. But honestly, Taurus, I think the progression here is most probably suggests that they are related, and we are talking about 4 months. And I would think that for leaving an important relationship, 4 months is reasonable time. So these are my thoughts. And of course, when we get to the monthly reading, we'll look at different contexts for these cards. And like I said, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be another relationship. It could be a partnership, something professional, maybe someone you work with, like an agent or a lawyer. Maybe it's someone you've had a long time and you're not really wanting to continue with them. All of these scenarios are possible. So moving on to September, and we have a very beautiful month. We have some very bright cards. The flowers and star are 2 wish fulfillment cards, and the heart is about happiness. And so this is a healing heart. Both the star and flowers are healing cards. And I think with the heart, there's a sense of wholeness. So it does look like putting this behind you is going to lead to a sense of freedom. So very beautiful cards, but also success in other areas, not necessarily in relative to what happened earlier. Beautiful month here. In October, we have the child, dog, and bear. And the child is about something new. The dog is a friend, and the bear suggests someone important. So this can be an important new relationship, which is quite curious, because it comes after a breakup. So it seems to me, Taurus, that this is an important theme for your 2025. Changes in relationships, or a specific relationship, and a new one. What's also possible with this triplet is that you could be looking at a promotion. The dog is a junior and the bear is a senior. And with the child, maybe you are leveling up or taking on more responsibilities or taking something up, or maybe you are putting yourself on the path to this promotion or to this improvement, whatever it is, regardless of work or not work. So a lovely turnaround here. Now, November, we have news cards. We have the letter and book and road. And when the letter and book show up together, they tend to represent some important news. And the road is a path and a change, and possibly also some decisions. Because the book is also a card of things that are unknown, with the road, it's possible that you are going to pursue a path, a journey, or some venture, or you're going to head in a new direction. So something new is materializing. And with the letter, it's like you get the green light for it. The cards are more or less neutral, and also they don't really tell us in what area this is. But when we get to the forecast, the monthly forecast, we'll draw, I think it's going to be a portrait again, but we'll draw some layouts on top of these and see what more we will get about them. So stay tuned. Okay, so here we are in December. And we have the mouse, anchor, and tower. Now this is not very dramatic. The mouse is a bit annoying, but it's easily overcome, especially if you pay attention to the red flags early. So the mouse is a message of pay attention to the small before it gets bigger. And so it's really, it's a helpful card in this sense. Now what also comes through is the Anchor and Tower. The Anchor is a card of staying and the Tower is about the long term. So it's clear to me, Taurus, that here you need to stick with it, whatever it is. You need to stick with it even if you're not happy with it. You need to stick with it with the long term. So don't make changes in December. Stick with it even if it's a bit annoying, and then hopefully you'll come on the other side of this. The Tower can also be a card of growth because it tends to be associated with people at the top, a bit like the bear, a bit like the lily, and it has an element of expertise. It's possible, but I think the main idea is that you stick with what you're doing, even if it's annoying you. So you need to maintain your consistency, maintain your commitment a while longer. So it's a bit like you have to deal with it, Taurus. So not a huge deal, but certainly advice to stick with what you're doing and avoid changes in December. So Taurus, here is your Astroclock. It's looking like a powerful Astroclock. I think the year can be a bit loaded. I think there are some like these moments that are sharp in the changes and the action that they bring, especially between May and August. I think this is very clear in terms of the relationship, but we also have an ending and a big activity here between February and March. And we have a healing and a new beginning here between September and October. So it looks pretty exciting. It looks like it's high energy. It looks like there is a lot of feeling, sensation, awareness. You know, it's like a year where you're awake and there seems to be a lot of activity. So that's obviously going to keep you focused and attentive to what is going on. So I would say this is the opposite of a quiet year. You maybe have some quiet months, maybe January, maybe December, possibly February, but and also April seems to be pretty even and balanced. But the rest of the months, they're active and they have these changes and these momentum and energies. So it seems to me that it's a pretty active month, Taurus. Let me know how you resonate with these ideas, and let me know if you're starting to have some thoughts about the year, how this Astroclock is going to help you focus and envision the year ahead. Visioning is always so fun to do. I hope you agree. And like I said, maybe you'd like to try your hand at the Astroclock, but I suggest maybe taking some notes at least is going to be helpful for your sense of self-direction. So Taurus, thanks again for tuning in. Let me know how you enjoyed this Astroclock. Let me know if any of it is already starting to align with how you're seeing the year. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and your feedback. And I hope you'll stick with me throughout the year. We're going to take each of the months and read on top of them to get more details about them. This has been our process over the past few years. It's a really enjoyable process. I hope you agree. And again, let me know how you feel about all this. Thank you for tuning in, Taurus. Very best of luck with 2025, and I look forward to seeing you in our upcoming readings. Thank you so much for watching, and take very good care of yourself.